Good afternoon. Thank you for weathering the perhaps approaching storm and staying with us through the end of the conference. Thank you so much. First of all, it's really an honor to be the 2018 recipient of the Georgia D. Smith Prize. Thank you so much to UPS for sponsoring it. And again, it's a true honor for us. Thank you, and we're very grateful. So welcome this afternoon. My name is Missy Bowers. I'm the director of the Master's Program in Business Analytics in the Haslam College of Business at the University of Tennessee.
My name is Brian Noreen. I'm a 2016 graduate of the program.
And so I'd like to first start off highlighting a couple of phrases from the purpose of the award. First is the effective and innovative preparation of students to be good practitioners of operations research and analytics, and that's the core of our program. And in our opinion, that absolutely, without a doubt, means that we must strengthen the ties between industry and schools of higher education, specifically in analytics, and that's what our program is all about. So I'd like to share with you a little bit about the history of our program. Our program has really strong roots in OR and statistics. So in 1940, at the University of Tennessee, we launched a program in statistics in the College of Business. And you're probably wondering, who is this lady here on the screen? Well, her name is actually Jane Greer Puckett. And she was the first graduate of the statistics program at the University of Tennessee in 1943. Well, Jane came to the University of Tennessee with a very quantitative interest, intending to major in engineering. The engineering college at that time did not allow women to enroll in the college. So the dean of the College of Engineering suggested to her that she explore options in the College of Business, because he knew that the College of Business accepted women and that they had just started a program in statistics, and perhaps that would suit her needs. So she very quickly enrolled in the statistics program and was in the first graduating class of our College of Business in statistics. Well, Jane then, as soon as she graduated in 1943, she went to work at Oak Ridge. And Oak Ridge National Lab is the location of currently the largest national lab in the country. And at the time, there was some very important work going on there, and that was work on the Manhattan Project. It was a very secret project. And she's actually highlighted in a book called The Girls of Atomic City. And it's about 9 women scientists who played critical roles in the Manhattan Project. And so Jane is our own hidden figure. And Oak Ridge has remained a very important part of our program. In 1965, Ron Bowling, who was a student of Fred Hillier at Stanford, actually started our program. And when he started the program in management science again in 1965, most of the folks that enrolled in our program were folks that were working out at Oak Ridge National Lab. And from our program in management science, we had for a number of years a master's and a PhD program in management science. And folks involved in that program were individuals like Rick Rosenthal, that you're probably all very familiar with. Terry Harrison graduated from our program, past president of Informs. John Hooker at Carnegie Mellon. And so we have really strong roots in OR and statistics. John Hooker, in fact, worked on efficiency of automotive fuels out at Oak Ridge National Lab during his time as a graduate student at UT. So again, Oak Ridge plays a hugely important role in our programs of the past and our programs today. Then in 2005 in the College of Business, management science merged with the Department of Statistics. At the time, we didn't know it, but that was the magic recipe for launching the first master's program in analytics in a College of Business in 2010. And our program focuses on driving organizational impact, primarily, again, from the perspective of industry and the real world, driving organizational impact for our partners and for industry, making a true impact. And so I'd like for you to hear just a little bit about some of our impactful capstone projects that we've actually engaged with our industry partners. So take a minute and listen.
My name's Ben Martin. I'm the Chief Analytics Officer and the Chief Global Planning Officer for Heinz Brands. We've sponsored 7 Capstone Projects with UT's MSBA program. These projects range from work with our sales and marketing group to supply chain, taking a look at the impact of particular promotional activities on brand switching. We've also done work around price elasticity, markdown optimization. We've done work in logistics optimization. There's a breadth of work that we've worked on across functional areas and a very different breadth in terms of the analytical approaches required to solve these types of problems. Every one of them has resulted in something that we could use. It takes a very broad set of skills to be able to work in each one of those individual areas. So it's been impressive to Heinz that the students are able to come in and tackle those types of problems. Our project predictions of potential stockouts or potential service issues on individual SKUs. We started with a small subset of the business. I shouldn't say small, it's the men's underwear division, which is several $1 billion in sales. UT built the model from scratch, a predictive model, and shared the results with us. And thereafter, we've taken that model and we've scaled it to the entire business. It was a very novel approach to solving that type of problem. It was purely predictive based upon the conditions of the environment of the supply chain itself. One of the things that we've been impressed with about the University of Tennessee's MSBA program is the knowledge and experience that the faculty are able to impart upon students. When we work with the UT faculty and the students are in there doing the work, they're driving at it very tenaciously and delivering upon the objectives and results and the analysis that we're asking to be done. But what we see as somewhat of a differentiator with UT is that the faculty in the background is asking many of the questions that we would be asking as a business audience. So they're going in and saying, hey, have you thought about this? Really going in and testing the student's thought process, the student's approach to it.
I'm Melinda Birch. I am the Group Director for Sales and Customer Development with Coca-Cola Refreshments. Coca-Cola Refreshments is the largest bottler in the United States. We have had a relationship with the University of Tennessee for going on 5 years now. We have done 3 capstone projects, 2 interns, and 2 graduate hires. We have done projects on business development. How do we get new customers? We've done projects on, once it is a customer, how do we grow our business with them or reduce the issues we have with those customers or the issues they have with us? And we've also done projects on business retention. So we've encompassed the entire customer life cycle in University of Tennessee projects to great success in every facet. We created a capstone project around what are the factors that cause customers to leave Coca-Cola as a beverage provider. They did a predictive model on why customers will leave you and when they will leave you. We've taken that model. We actually hired one of the students that was on the capstone project as an intern, and we loved him so much we kept him as a full-time employee after the internship. That project translated into a model which translates into business decisions every day for us. We learned all kinds of incredible things. A customer with a pricing issue will leave you 17 times faster than a customer without a pricing issue. How do we mitigate pricing issues in our system? It has transformed the way we price customers and how complex our pricing system is. It's changed the way we see a customer. It's changed the way we see where a customer is in their life cycle and how we can impact that life cycle. They develop their students in 3 really distinct areas that make all the difference in the application of their technical skills. They, of course, have the analytical technical skills. They're teaching very cutting edge, large data analytics. They're also teaching business acumen, right? And the combination of the technical skills and the business acumen would be strong, but it's the third piece that gives you the soft skills. You can have all the best technical capability in the world, but But if you can't translate that to a business person to go take action on, you don't have anything, right? And that's where we have enjoyed such excellence from the University of Tennessee students, and not just with my team, but being able to explain their models and their work to our organization at large.
So we feel that there are 3 very key ingredients that allow our students to have significant organizational impact, not just while they are graduates of the program, when they become alumni, but while they're actually students still in the program. We'll talk about the first one of those, and that's our curriculum. We believe that our curriculum is a very relevant, a very responsive curriculum that trains students in soft skills in a business context. And as you can imagine, being the first to launch an analytics degree in a college of business, the challenge was absolutely significant. I was on that team that actually threw out our entire old curriculum, started with a clean white piece of paper, and designed this new analytics curriculum. And a quote from one of our students, one of my old students actually, Dave Clark, who's currently Senior Vice President of Worldwide Operations and Customer Service at Amazon, actually represents the driving force behind the redesign perfectly. People who can do high-level math are practically a commodity. People who can figure out which problem is the right one to solve and then apply high-level math are both expensive and elusive. Those who can communicate effectively the answer in such a way managers can understand, priceless. That summarizes it and says it all in our opinion. So, as you see, Dave was very perceptive, and he truly values mathematical, again, savvy, and also values even more so the ability to translate that into terms that any manager can understand. With us, this all starts with the classroom experience. For example, in many of our classes, we bring in industry experts to share with our students information, past history on projects that they've experienced. We bring them in to actually serve as lecturers in our coursework, to share real-world data with our students, to share war stories. And oftentimes, as an instance we'll share just very shortly, we bring executives in that actually launch classroom projects that are real-world projects so that our students can have an experience, again, working on a real-world project from end to end. And I'd like for you to listen while Chris shares an experience with you about precisely that.
There was never a time that we weren't working with somebody in industry or working on a particular problem that would relate directly to the industry.
We worked with one of our clients to sort of create an anonymized version of this problem, and we have the World Softball League. It's a fictitious league, but we include a lot of the real constraints that we get in practice. One thing that we ask the students to do is to sell their schedule to us. And, they're basically solving a math problem that comes back with zeros and ones, millions of zeros and ones that describe, the underlying math problem that they've solved. But that's not going to be meaningful to, the commissioner of a league, for example. And so what we ask them to do is sell us your schedule and show us your schedule. Show us what's good about it and visualize that. So they've come up with some pretty compelling ways to take a previous schedule and compare it to what they did and say, okay, this is why our schedule is better for TV ratings. This is why our schedule is better for competitive fairness. And this is why our schedule is better for travel. Even, showing maps of, these teams traveling around the globe to play these games. This is a real problem, right? I mean, we created a fictitious league, but all the constraints about the divisions, about the travel, about the competitive fairness, and all the questions that we ask them are based on a real problem that one of our clients allowed us to present to the students. This isn't a textbook problem where, you have a theoretical round robin and everything works out nicely. It's a messy problem. It's a hard problem. And that's what students are going to encounter in the world, not just in scheduling, of course, but in anything with a real business challenge. There's a lot of sort of very fuzzy things that the client wants to address. And so the students, through working on this project, they really get some exposure to that. And as we ask them questions in their presentations, we ask them hard questions and in a nebulous way, because we're not posing as mathematicians, we're posing as business people who have a problem that they need to solve, and they need to satisfy 12 coaches and their TV partners and everyone else like that. And so it really teaches them a lot about taking data science, taking optimization and applying it to the problems that they'll encounter sort of in the wild out there. After really asking them some challenging, difficult questions, really grilling them on some of this stuff, we give them feedback. We say, well, this is what you could have addressed better, or this is how you stumbled on this question here. And no matter how good your technical solution is, if you fumble enough times in a meeting, that can cost you the client. And so what the University of Tennessee is doing now is they're sort of figuring out what is the toolbox that these students need to have to go out there. They need the business side, they need the technical skills, they need the big data skills, and it's really this mixture of, to be a Swiss Army knife in a bunch of different ways that Tennessee is teaching them. To have a program like this that trains people to be well-rounded is very valuable in industry.
So a little bit about Chris. He's a former director at KPMG, and he's currently the Senior Vice President of Routing and Optimization at a company called Map Anything. He's truly a subject matter expert in sports scheduling. In fact, his group actually produced the current NBA schedule that just completed play and the current NBA tournament schedule that's in play as we speak. Their group also created the Major League Baseball schedule for the 2018 Major League Baseball season. And so he's truly a subject matter expert. He comes into my class the first semester that students are there into decision optimization. He shares his expertise and a problem that he's worked on with the NCAA, a particular conference schedule. And the students are challenged by a real-world problem, a messy problem, a nebulous problem with messy data, with data that, again, constraints that the commissioners in that particular league want that are very difficult to understand and very difficult to define and very difficult to quantify, certainly from the perspective of a model. And so how is it our students in their very first semester are able to tackle such a problem and make recommendations to, quote, a commissioner of a given conference in the NCAA and actually receive feedback from that, quote, commissioner of the conference, feedback not just on their analytical skills and their recommendations, but their soft skills, their presentations, and their visualizations. We think it all goes back to our curriculum, to our classrooms. And 4 very important components of our core curriculum is that one is that we teach soft skills. We dedicate curricular hours to teaching students soft skills. It all starts with a ropes course. When our students arrive at campus, they participate in a formal ropes course where they begin to learn teamwork and cooperation and communication and creative thinking skills. And then immediately they begin classes and enroll in a business skills development class. And later we'll talk to you a little bit about a new component of our soft skills program that we launched in fall of 2017, and that's a high-performing teams program. And of course, at the center of our entire curriculum is analytics content. We spend a significant amount of time on the basic 3, operations research, statistics, and data mining and machine learning. And we fill that in with technical skills, for example, a database and big data technologies class, classes on enterprise data management. We teach our students R. We teach our students Python in a business context. Our students learn about visualization. And then the Capstone Project, which is the culminating event of their academic career. And all of our students have the opportunity to sit in the same classroom with our MBA students learning from MBA instructors about the fundamentals of business. And we feel that's absolutely critical to the success of our students. It's absolutely necessary so that they can have organizational impact. A fundamental understanding of business is at the heart of business problem solving. It is the environment where analytics is applied. And so you can, and if you can imagine, working on projects similar to the structure that Chris described, some combination with working with real-world data sets, working with real-world industry professionals, receiving lectures from real-world industry professionals scattered across the entire curriculum, working on case-based team projects throughout virtually every single core class that we teach and all the elective classes that we also teach inside our department. So the remainder of our curriculum is actually comprised of 12 hours of elective courses. Oh, sorry. 12 hours of elective courses. In their third semester, they come back to campus, so the 26 hours of the curriculum encompass their first 2 semesters, a fall and a spring. They leave for a summer internship. They return in the fall to delve into this 12 hours of elective coursework. And it falls fairly nicely into 3 buckets. The first bucket is what we call customer analytics or marketing analytics from an applied statistics framework. So students typically choose to specialize in one of these aggregate areas, and the second being supply chain analytics, and the third data science. And so also, again, real-world data sets, real-world projects with real-world companies are involved in all these electives. For example, in customer analytics, marketing analytics, they work with, again, real-world scenarios with real-world data to predict customer churn. For example, in design of experiments, they learn about conjoint analysis. It's not your typical design of experiments class. In supply chain analytics, they work with a data set from Intel, and they understand the impact of forecasting on inventory status. In discrete event optimization, they work with lots of local companies. For example, they work with a supply chain in switchgrass to actually optimize a biofuels refinery supply chain. They work with hospitals to minimize the wait time in their emergency rooms, for example. They work with the university to optimize bus routing, and UT really appreciates that. And so also in our second year optimization class, students work on a project in a very similar fashion to that you heard with Chris, on an optimization model to make the assignment of products to various manufacturing locations across the globe to optimize Eastman's supply chain. So again, real-world experience equals organizational impact, both as students and graduates in our program. And secondly, this can't happen without direct links to industry. We attempt to keep our finger on the pulse of industry and the market in a very, very deliberate fashion. How do we do that? By keeping in constant contact with our customers. And our customers, we reach those customers through something that we call our Business Analytics Forum. We keep in constant contact with our Capstone partners, with our recruiters that come to campus to hire our students. Not just recruiters from HR, but recruiters that are actually embedded in organizations' analytics teams. We're in constant contact with them. We also have an industry advisory board that we seek, again, for advisory in terms of informing our curriculum. We make a very deliberate attempt to make sure that we understand what's going on in the market and what's currently being demanded. And so if you'll turn your attention to this graphic, it actually depicts the percent of analytics job ads requesting data mining and machine learning skills, and you can see starting in 2007 and then moving from 2010 to 2017. When we launched our program, every student that was in that program took a class in data mining. And we were an early adopter in terms of data mining in the 2011-12 year, and at that time only about 4% of job ads were actually asking for that skill set. And very similarly with respect to R, skills in R, we came on the scene with a course in R around in the academic year 2013 to 2014. So 5 years ago, we weren't teaching R. Now our students all graduate proficient in R, and we teach these classes. We don't send our students to computer science to take R and Python. We teach those classes, and so we can be very agile and very responsive to the market because of the control that we have over our curriculum, and that's very unique. And we can also make sure that those students learn these concepts couched in business problems, couched in a business context. They're not trying to actually determine the optimal flux on an electric circuit with 6 different algorithms that has absolutely zero relevancy to the real world of business. And so that is something that uniquely, again, qualifies our program and describes our program. And so if, in that response to the market, we don't have the talent in-house, we don't hesitate to reach out to the surrounding industry, and in particular to Oak Ridge National Lab. Lots of scientists out there, lots of industry experts, subject matter experts that help us out in many, many ways. But for example, when we introduced big data, our big data class in 2016, we actually introduced that with the combination of 3 faculty members, a faculty member in our department and 2 outside faculty members, one from Oak Ridge National Lab, who's an expert in high performance computing, and the chief data scientist at KPMG in town. And again, that allows us to go far beyond a textbook in any of our classes. Our faculty base as well has years and years of experience teaching in executive ed and working with real-world companies on real-world analytics problems in operations research, statistics, and now in data mining. So I'd like for you to listen as Dr. Thilina Gunaratne from KPMG shares his experience in big data.
I teach mainly the big data technologies, the fundamentals about Hadoop and how to get data processing using Hive and things like that. And then I also teach them how to use cloud computing. If I'm to hire one of them to work in our group, what would I expect them to know? So that's what I look into them and I try to teach. It is what is currently used in the big data industry. So which includes, how to do large-scale data processing. We have seen lot more companies move into cloud computing environments. Now they get to learn from end to end. Like let's say if they go to the industry and if they were thrown a project with a data set saying, okay, go analyze this and come up with some solutions. And if that is a very large data set, now they know what to do, what technologies to pick, and how to do it from end to end.
And because we're in a business school, we recognize really early on a unique value proposition, again, to create organizational impact. We were the first college of business to offer what we called then and still remain today to call a dual degree, a dual MSBA, MBA degree. These students enter our program as MSBAs, and again, they enroll in the first 2 semesters of the MSBA curriculum. They actually find a summer internship in analytics, and then they spend their second 2 semesters in the MBA program taking a collection of electives in analytics while they're enrolled in the MBA program. And they leave with both a breadth and depth of experience in both business and analytics, and are very highly sought after out there in the marketplace and command significant salaries, and we're very proud of them. And they make significant impact when they actually hit the ground running out there in the real world. Many of them go into the consulting arena. Now, our dual students have an excellent command of soft skills when they come to us. Most of our undergrad students come to us with undergraduate degrees in math or computer science or engineering, and just by nature don't naturally have a command of the soft skills arena. So that's actually validated in this graphic, which depicts the percent of analytics job ads that request the soft skill set. And if you'll see, in terms of the entire, again, array of skill sets that are sought after in the job market, the top 2 are personal and communication and managerial skills. So folks that are seeking analytics professionals specifically emphasize in those job ads the need for soft skills training, the need for the soft skills set. And so we spend a significant amount of time training our students to communicate, training our students on the soft skills side. And as I mentioned, the first thing they do when they get to our program is the ropes course we discussed previously. And then they enroll in a business soft skills course formally. And in that business soft skills course, they learn communication skills, presentation skills, business writing skills, technical writing skills. They learn how to make a persuasive argument. They learn the techniques of persuasion, audience positioning, to absolutely know your audience before you prepare any presentation. We begin to develop their leadership skills. Before they get to us, that first semester over the summer, they actually participate in what we call a Strengths Finders assessment. And that identifies their strengths. And we then focus on the aspects of leadership, again, that they're weak in, and then we also focus on, again, promoting the things that they're already strong at and highlighting those, especially in interviews and resumes. The students go through mock interviews. They go through mock networking events. And so this business skills class, again, helps formally jumpstart their soft skills development that they then practice as they move through our program again and again and again and again. They're forced to practice those soft skills and put them into action. Again, first in the business skills development class itself, and then, as I said, in every course in both our elective curriculum and in our core curriculum, students participate in projects, working in teams, and they're forced to, again, practice those soft skills, delivering presentations in every class, writing technical reports about their findings and recommendations in those, again, business case-based or real-world projects. They participate in hackathons. The hackathons are typically associated with our Business Analytics Forum, and you'll hear more about that just briefly. Through our Business Analytics Forum, our students actually present to hundreds of business professionals at the forum on a regular basis. We also host an annual case competition in-house where they, again, are forced to practice those soft skills. At their summer internships, they practice those soft skills again and again. And then finally, in their culminating Capstone Experience. And I'd like to highlight for you the culminating event of the MSBA first year. So as the final academic engagement of their academic first year in our program, they actually participate in our very own UT case competition, our very own UT analytics case competition that over the past several years has been sponsored by Heinz Brands. So Heinz Brands offers this phenomenal opportunity to our students to actually solve a real-world problem that they're wrestling with at Heinz. Not a problem Heinz has already solved, not a simulated problem, but a real problem that they're wrestling with currently. And so the students have the opportunity to work on a real-world analytics problem, a very hard real-world analytics problem with real-world data on the order of 10 gigabytes on a regular basis in real time. And again, I'm going to actually turn it over to Brian Noreen, and his team actually won one of the Heinz case competitions, and so he's going to share with you his experience with that process.
So I'm going to talk about a couple of things that I think really make the program stand out, and that's impactful graduates and adaptability. As I'm sure you've gathered, everything in the program really has a business needs side to it, and I think that's what really makes this program strong. So I want to talk through some of the opportunities that I had that you can see listed on the screen while I was in the program. So first, I participated in 2 case competitions, the first being the Heinz brand competition. Like Dr. Bauer said, we had 48 hours to take a large data set and give actionable solutions. So my team used a cluster analysis to rethink how they looked at inventory in stores in a way that they said they had never seen before. And so they were able to see the impact of that, and one of the students in my group actually ended up taking a full-time offer with Heinz upon graduation. The second one was the MIT Sloan case competition. That was a fully funded trip up to Boston for 11 of our students, where we got to, again, practice our soft skills, meet with businesses, and that was 100% funded, which is amazing. Those gave me a lot of confidence going into my summer internship, which was at Booz Allen Hamilton. The summer internship is required for all students. And while I was there, I worked on a team of 5 interns, and we were looking at crime and efficiency and predicting that on metro systems. The difficult part about working for defense consulting as an internship is that our supervisors were often in cleared spaces and we weren't able to talk to them. And so we really had to be able to problem solve on our own and work through problems on the day-to-day. And because of the comfortable situations I had with businesses in my first year, I felt very comfortable taking a leadership role in that. We were actually selected as the top data science team in Booz Allen of 15 teams. And individually, I was selected as the top intern of about 320 interns in the company. And that's really because I was comfortable, I had leadership experience, and it wouldn't happen without that first year in the program. So that was a pretty wonderful thing. Coming back, I had the opportunity to work on a capstone. That's also a required part of the program in the final semester. I worked for an airline company to predict engine failures. We were able to successfully move them closer to their goals. And at the end of that capstone, they offered everyone in my group a full-time position. So again, they could see the impact that we could have before you even graduated. The other side I'd like to talk about is adaptability. And I mean that in two ways. I mean creating adaptable students and an adaptable curriculum. The adaptable students, you can see just some of the things that I was exposed to while I was in the program. We see a wide variety of things so that we can really take on a lot of different roles. We have students graduating and going into all sorts of different fields and having successful careers. We're not really pushing one thing, and that's because we have the ability to really shape what we want to do, to be exposed to a lot of different things, so we can, when we go to a business, we can not make a solution fit into what we know, but really take what we know and get the right solution. The second part of that is adaptable curriculum. When I showed up on campus, I didn't know we were going to have a big data and cloud storage class. In my second semester, we had that class because we saw a need for it. You saw that earlier in the presentation, being ahead of the game on getting some of these things into action. And then right after that, I went to my summer internship and I used those skills. So that was a critical part, and many of my classmates have graduated and gone on to use those skills. So I've been out a year and a half now, and I look back at the curriculum and I already see some new things that have been put in place, and you hear some of the things that are coming soon. So it's constantly adapting and constantly staying with the newest technologies, which is crucial.
And so, as Brian said, industry is at the heart of our program. And one of the key conduits that we have to industry is something that we call our Business Analytics Forum. It's a forum that occurs twice a year, once in the spring, once in the fall. We bring our corporate partners to campus, and those corporate partners meet among each other. They hear from industry experts on cutting-edge analytics topics. They hear and meet our students, hear from our students, and they also interact with our faculty. Presentations abound. Industry experts, again, come in and talk about the most pressing issues with which they're dealing in analytics. Again, they introduce cutting-edge technologies. They challenge us and ask us for our thoughts on the issues with which they're struggling, our thoughts from a faculty perspective, even from a student perspective, given what they've learned. We actually typically have analytics competitions associated with the Business Analytics Forum, for example, hackathons, visualization contests, etc. And the students typically get to present in front of hundreds of corporate sponsors on those hackathons and case competitions. Tremendous experience for the students, driving value for our industry partners. And the students actually get to engage in recruiting activities, speed networking, interviewing sessions that are actually facilitated by the department, and of course social gatherings where they get to actually talk one-on-one with industry experts in analytics. They actually validate that what they're learning in class is tremendously valuable, and these guys are actually using all the techniques they're learning right now today in their organizations. They talk with vice presidents of organizations and directors of analytics groups. And we see and invite a variety of speakers. So people on the caliber of Tom Davenport and Stephen Few and Tom Redmond and Bill Smarzo that talk here at our conference. And they speak on a variety of topics: big data, deep learning, Internet of Things, data visualization. Aaron Burciago actually came in and talked to us about the Informs Analytics Maturity Model, customer loyalty programs, social media issues, etc. And the primary point of the forum is to facilitate an exchange among many groups, an exchange between our members and our guest companies. They share their own best practices and the organizational challenges which they're all struggling. And they learn about relevant academic research from our faculty, and oftentimes experts that we bring in from outside. And with respect to faculty have the opportunity to learn about the state of the practice from experts in the field. And they make connections for their research, and they make connections to bring industry into the classroom right there at the Business Analytics Forum. Tremendous benefit to both our faculty and our students and our entire program as a whole. And the students benefit from the forum as well.
Yeah, so I'd like to talk a little bit about how the students benefit. It really is a great experience for us to sit with industry, have lunch, and really feel like what we're learning is worthwhile. And so it's a great opportunity for that. It's great speakers. I had the opportunity to speak at the forum, which is excellent experience to get to speak in front of a room of my peers and also people from industry. And it's a wonderful way to just really understand what you're doing, right? And get to hear about real world problems and think about what those solutions might be. And then, many of the people there end up hosting capstones or case competitions. And so you really get to build some connections with these people in industry. So it's a wonderful experience for the students.
And that's a group of our students actually participating in the hackathon that we had this past spring. And also, it benefits our degree programs. It informs our curriculum. We intentionally schedule in sessions where we actually meet with industry and probe them on, exactly what we need to include in our curriculum. Is our curriculum still relevant? Is it still currently up to date? And that feedback then prompts us to make changes in our curriculum. That's what prompted us specifically to bring R into our curriculum early on, to bring, again, big data into our curriculum, again, fairly early on in the game. And so it also provides us the opportunity to solicit capstone partners from industry for our students. Now, our capstone program is very well established, and we have more industry partners now that want to participate as a capstone partner than we actually have capstone opportunities for the fall. And that's a good place to be in, let me tell you. So our students benefit from that, the program benefits from that, and some of the forum members, just as a big picture, to give you a big picture perspective, these are some of the forum members and participants, mostly Fortune 100 companies, Fortune 500 companies, but we don't ignore the small players. There are many small companies in our community that attend the forum, and we value them equally. And then our last and third key ingredient that we feel is absolutely necessary for our students to make organizational impact as students and as graduates, and that's our capstone experience. And our capstone experience is not a simulated experience, as I mentioned before. It's a real-world industry experience in solving a real-world problem in real time in their final culminating semester. And so we say, and we feel very strongly, that our capstone experience is the crown jewel of the program. It's not an ordinary graduate class. It's not an ordinary capstone experience. Industry partners actually present current challenges to our students, issues that they're struggling with currently in real time, and our students then work to create value for those partners and drive impact at those organizations. Their recommendations, their applications are often put into place at these organizations and very oftentimes scaled up and deployed across the entire organization, as you heard at Heinz and at Coca-Cola and many of our other capstone partners as well. And so the quality of the capstone experience is not accidental. It's again, it absorbs tremendous amounts of faculty resources, and we feel that it's so important that we actually are willing to dedicate a significant amount of faculty resources to the success of the capstone to give our students the best experience that we possibly can. Tremendous amount of faculty commitment is required and faculty involvement. It all starts with a pre-planning capstone team, and that team's comprised of a staff member who works for us directly with industry and several faculty members on that team. And so it's very important. So to get, say, 10 capstones in the fall, we have this ongoing list that we continue to maintain, a queue, if you will. And they typically contact 15 to 20 companies that are interested in actually working with us on a capstone to actually identify 10 appropriate projects from a collection of 10 different companies. And the first thing that they do is many phone calls, and they narrow down the set of projects that these companies typically propose that they're currently struggling with, and they pick one from each of the companies again, and then they finally winnow that list down to 10 companies and 10 projects. And they actually then create a very formal statement of work. And that very formal statement of work includes a brief summary of the project. The client partners are listed in a very prominent position so that they all have skin in the game. And we also, in that, very specifically explore the format and availability of the data for that particular project. In that project, then we begin to involve the faculty members. This team is very involved with the department head in choosing 8 to 10 appropriate faculty mentors for each of those projects, and they then become into the project at that time and help set milestones and dates as we anticipate. And then that statement of work then becomes a bit of a contract between the client, again, so they have commitment, skin in the game, and us as a program, and then the students when they return in the fall. And the student team structure is very, very important. The faculty team selects that team structure, 4 to 5 students per team. And we also pick a project manager, just as if you were in the real world. These guys work in teams just as if they're in the real world with a project manager. That person typically excels in soft skills and leadership skills. And then we try to match the team members' skill sets with the needs of the projects. And this is absolutely critical. And we've recently, this past year, actually decided that it would be a really good idea for us to ask the students about their interest in the particular topics that these particular capstone projects would address. And so we get their top 3 preferences from them over the summer while they're at their internships, and we take that into consideration too as we form the teams. And it worked very well this year, so I think that's something that we're going to continue without question. And in terms of the structure, as the students see the structure of our capstone project, it begins in the fall when they return with project manager training. We have an alum that comes and trains the project managers. And then the first week of the semester, they actually go to the client partner for a site visit. And then they engage in what we call our brand new high performance or high performing teams program. And this year, last year, it was actually kind of interleaved into the classroom lectures for the capstone course. This year, we've decided to use a different format. When students return from those client visits, they're actually going to be involved in a very intense 2-day workshop on high-performing teams. And these projects end with a presentation and a report to the industry client. And it ensures very high-quality, actionable results for our capstone partners, which is absolutely critical so that they continue to come back to us to participate in this capstone program. And just a little bit about this new high-performing teams program. We are very fortunate to have in the College of Business someone who has both an undergraduate engineering degree and a degree in leadership. And she's prepared this for us specifically. And it includes sessions on effective presentations, a review of that, high-performing team indicators, feedback for improved performance, managing conflict, team facilitation, and peer evaluations. And this fall, we're going to include 2 new topics. One completely new topic is smart choices, brainstorming, creative thinking, etc. And it's going to culminate with each team member doing a 360 evaluation with respect to leadership. This is just a picture of the teams in their team meetings. Our PhD that designed this program also facilitates a team meeting live with each and every capstone team. And interaction with, again, our corporate partners is at the heart of our capstone project. Students actually own the visits and own the communication as they continue through the capstone project. At this initial meeting, the students sit down and discuss the symptoms and define the problem more specifically. They discuss the process that they'll actually implement as they move through the semester, and as well, and the data as well. And so the students follow a very strict structure. Every 2 weeks they have a meeting in person or via the web with their client partner. And a tremendous amount of preparation goes into getting ready for that meeting. The actual project manager sends the slides at least 24 hours in advance. They learn how to focus a meeting. They learn how to run a very crisp, very efficient meeting. They provide, anytime they have an issue, they realize that the easiest way to get a solution or an answer or work through that issue is to explain it using concrete examples with data. They never leave a meeting without action items, and action items with individual names and dates associated with those action items. This is just a picture of one of our capstone teams in Washington, D.C., a visit to that client partner there. And again, In the classroom, there are periodic team meetings with a very experienced faculty member as the facilitator. And they meet and they step through Patrick Noonan's project management business skills steps in our class. And you can see just a very high-level schematic of how the class proceeds. High-performing teams program, project manager training before the semester kicks off. The gray bars depict Patrick Noonan's project management business skills topics that he teaches for Informs, integrated in this class. 3 times during the semester, the students do briefings as to the status of their project, any issues that they're running into, and they share that with all the other teams. So they experience 10 projects vicariously, which is a tremendous benefit to all the students. They all sign NDAs for every single corporation. And throughout, the course, they have team meetings and class meetings and web conference or in-person meetings with their corporate partners. And again, in the Capstone, we emphasize soft skills, emphasize soft skills, emphasize soft skills. Go ahead. This is just a set of companies that we engage with in our Capstone projects in the past. All, again, primarily Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 companies. So for organizational impact, so that our students have impact in organizations both as students and graduates, we really feel that the keys are an innovative curriculum, direct links to industry, and an impactful capstone project experience for all of our students. And in terms of how we make all this happen in an environment with very scarce resources, our business analytics forum provides surplus for us, which helps us a tremendous amount. We leverage teaching resources in the community from Oak Ridge, from our industry partners in and around Knoxville, and we bring Professor Emeriti back to teach for us that brings experience to our classrooms. And then we leverage our student contributions. In other words, our students are so valuable. Their value's been recognized by folks at Y12, which is a branch of ORNL. Basically, that's the original weapons facility. They hire 4 of our students on a continuous basis on assistantships. They're supported to bring analytics into Y12. In addition, at the University of Tennessee, the Office of Research, Outreach, and Economic Development and the Provost Office they've hired our students because they see the impact that our students can drive at the university. In fact, our students have actually helped increase the freshman to sophomore retention rate by an entire percentage point at the University of Tennessee from fall semester 17 to spring semester 18. And our external impact is significant as well. For example, our average compensation for our students is about $92,000 a year, and that represents about a $35,000 increase over most of their anticipated undergraduate salaries. And we've had 100% placement within 6 months of graduation since inception of the program. And in addition, we graduate 40 to 50 graduates each year, and we're at capacity, and they're placed in about 123 distinct companies thus far since 2011. And some of those companies, again, most of them are Fortune 500 and Fortune 100 companies. So our program, we feel, prepares students to have a significant organizational impact in the world of analytics. Again, not only as graduates, but as students in the program. And so we really want to thank you for your time and thank you for coming today. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to entertain those.